as the lid is lifted off sexual harassment, sexual misconduct, and sexual abuse in the Malayalam film industry, actor Mohanlal has broken his silence. This after a panel led by him all submitted their resignations. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Our focus continues to be on what women in India are going through from Kolkata to Kerala. Today, Mohanlal, a superstar from Kerala, broke his silence and seemed to defend the film industry that he represents. The argument he made was that the industry was much better than other industries. He said while he and other artists welcomed the Hema Committee report, the report that was set up to look into the rights of women in the Malayalam film industry, he said that there should not be a narrative that seeks to destroy, quote unquote, the Malayalam film industry. Now, there are many actors, particularly women, who have criticized Mohanlal both for his silence up until now, as well as for the mass resignations by the panel led by him. In fact, actor Parvati told us here on this program, on this platform, that she thought the resignations were an act of cowardice and they once again left the onus on women to keep the conversation going. Mohanlal did break his silence today, but did not really say much about what he felt about what women had gone through. It will be interesting to see how his comments are received, as really it's an avalanche of complaints, and we now have more than 17 women who have come forward to file their complaints with the task force set up by the Kerala government, a government that also has much to answer for. Remember, this was a panel that completed its report in 2019, and we are looking at it in 2024, that too with 11 redacted paragraphs. Joining me on the program today as we continue the focus on this issue is eminent film editor Beena Paul. Welcome, Ms. Paul. It's a pleasure talking to you. I wish we were talking in happier circumstances, but somehow women seem to get together only when we're angry or anguished, and that is the tragedy. I want to start immediately by asking you. I know women like yourselves have been at the front line of the battle for equal rights for women, for better working conditions, and for the veil of silence to be lifted of the kind of sexual harassment that we've now seen tumble out like a proverbial skeleton from the locked cupboard. But let me start by asking you about Mohanlal. He's one of the biggest stars of Kerala. He has today broken his silence and he has said, don't destroy the industry. Investigate, but don't destroy the industry. This after, I guess, years of silence on this issue. How do you look at his comments?
Very, very disturbing, unfortunately. As usual, it feels as if we are being again targeted, that we are destroying, while there are these lovely people who want to save the industry, keep it all well, etc. So I have to say that I was very saddened by this kind of, it felt like targeting almost, that here are these bunch of people trying to destroy the industry. The truth is not that. As we all know, it is a groundswell of frustration that is coming out. And I don't think it is fair to for us to now have to again be on the defensive and say no, 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 it's all well. We are only saying some people are bad. That's not the point. The point is we are saying there are systemic problems. Please face it.
So when Mohanlal says what he does, you feel that in a way, women, victims, survivors, warriors, fighters are being blamed instead of being empathized with and supported.
Totally. I really feel that. I think that when I hear all these women talking, I feel so sad. And then when I hear this saying, oh, don't destroy the industry, I would say you're pointing the gun in the wrong direction. You know, who is responsible for this destruction? We are trying to say change, change, change. This is not, I mean, just because it's under the carpet, it does not exist. That is the point that we are trying to make. And I think that's what, yeah, sorry.
No, I just want to play out. He had many things to say, but I'm just going to play out just a small excerpt. As you say, it's a kind of targeting the gun at the women instead of at the perpetrators and the alleged perpetrators. But let me just play out this clip and we can talk some more. Take a look.
അതിലെ മെമ്പേഴ്സിന്റെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ എടുക്കാം. ചില തെറ്റുപറ്റ കുറ്റങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടായേക്കാം. അതൊരു അസോസിയേഷനായി ബന്ധപ്പെട്ട് കിടക്കുന്ന കാര്യമാണ്. അല്ലാതെ അപ്പൊ എല്ലാവർക്കും, അമ്മയിലുള്ള എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇതിനെതിരെ സംസാരിക്കാം. അമ്മയ്ക്ക് മാത്രമല്ല, സിനിമയിലുള്ള എല്ലാവർക്കും ഇതിനെക്കുറിച്ച് സംസാരിക്കാനുള്ള സമയമാണിപ്പോൾ. കാര്യം ഒരാൾ മാത്രം ക്രൂശിക്കപ്പെടുക അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു സംഘടന മാത്രം ക്രൂശിക്കപ്പെടുക എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ശരിയല്ല.
Now, when he says one person shouldn't be crucified, he's really referring to the Association of Artists from which he and all of the other members resigned, what's known as AMA. And he, in a way, is suggesting that they've been crucified, they've been held responsible for everything that's gone wrong. But at the same time, he's saying, yes, it's important to have this conversation. I'm sure women like yourselves and even sort of sensitive men are thinking, why has it taken all of these years? This debate has been ongoing since 2017 when the Dilip case first surfaced. The Hema Committee report was complete in 2019. We're in 2024, and one of the biggest stars of the industry is now saying it's time to have this conversation. And hang on, you can't only blame us. So when you hear that clip, what do you think?
Well, Barkha, to say the least, we are not surprised. How many times have we tried to talk? How many times have we said, both from within, from without, saying, come on, it's time to sit at a table. And now to suddenly come up with this because they seem to be pushed into a spot, we are not surprised. They're not, you see, unless you accept that there's a problem, you cannot bring change. And again, this is kind of saying that there is a crucifixion, there's a problem, there's destruction, this is a great industry. Of course, we are all proud of this industry, we are all contributors to this industry, and we want to see it stand like it has tall. But we are saying there are problems, face it, accept it, deal with it. Don't keep passing the buck, don't keep pretending all is well, push everything under the carpet and believe that everything's okay because you can't see it. What the women have so strongly and courageously proved is that there are problems. They're saying it loud and clear.
Now, Parvati was talking to me, and at that time, Mohanlal hadn't spoken, but the mass resignations had happened. And she said something quite interesting. She said, it's being claimed that this is, taking moral responsibility, but it's actually an act of cowardice because you don't want to have the actual conversation. You're once again leaving the onus on women to have the conversation. Is that how you see it too?
I really do, especially after today's press conference where he, very clearly, he spoke as an individual. He said that very clearly. I'm an individual. I've been in the industry for 47 years. Certainly, we respect him for that. We know what he's done. We know his, but not to not take the onus of responsibility. There are other unions. There are other this. There is other that. I mean, how long are you going to go on about this? That there are other people. I wish he had said, yes, we are looking into it, we are trying to work on it. Not at one point has he said that. That is very
Yeah.
frightening.
Now, 2024 is nearly 5 years after this report was completed. The report itself speaks about a power group within the industry. Revati, another key compatriot of yours, she said to me that there is indeed a powerful group, perhaps within the industry, but also perhaps within the Kerala government, that did not want the truth to come out. The report has come out with 11 paragraphs redacted. Now, if this is to protect the privacy of the survivors, I can understand that. But if it is to protect the privacy of the powerful, one doesn't understand that. How do you see the delay and who do you blame for the delay?
How can you not see who the powerful are hiding? There is obviously something to hide. We have not seen it. We have not spoken to the women. And I would certainly blame, I mean, it's not a blame game. I don't want to put a blame game because I must say there have been various people that have sort of put, I think Justice Hema herself said, don't put it out. So it starts from right there. She was, I think we heard, at least we have, I don't know whether this is true, she is the one who told the government, please don't put it out. So I feel that there is this kind of need to always keep the silence, if you know what I mean. So, of course, there are powerful men involved.
Um, I've also heard some very strange things about the panel itself. Again, this is from Parvati, who said that some women who deposed before the panel were told by one of the members of the panel, behave yourself, dress better. Like really bizarre things coming from a panel that is meant to investigate misogyny. I don't know if you did appear before the panel, and if you did, what was your experience or what you've heard about this?
Well, the report does have some rather shocking things itself, certain comments, etc. But I think it'll be, um, I don't want to go into that yet, just yet, because I think at this point, when we are trying to sort of put the report out as something that we need to work on, um, it's sad. I mean, some women have told us that there were these kind of comments, etc. And I think it's very unbecoming. It's very unbecoming of a woman to say this to another. But at this point, would not like to sort of focus on all that, because I think they have done a greater good, which is come up with a lot of hard truths, looked very closely at certain things. There are labor issues, there are there are human right violations, there's sexual harassment. So all that also is contained there, and I think that's also very important to focus on at the moment.
I think that's an important point, that the larger issue right now is justice, is breaking the taboo, is breaking the silence, and allowing women a safe space to say what they've gone through. You have said that the report is a lot worse than anybody even apprehended. That in a way it's a kind of startling chronicle of institutional patriarchy, abuse, misconduct, absence of pay parity, complete condescension towards women. Uh, Let me ask you about your own experience. What has it been for you to be a woman in this industry that Mohanlal today says is being smeared or sought to be destroyed?
I joined the industry as a very young person. And as you all know, I grew up in Delhi. I went to the Film Institute. I was extremely flummoxed by this all male kind of industry, especially as everybody else. One had known that the industry, Kerala film industry. But I was really lucky. I worked with directors who one knew well, who were from the institute, etc. So I was not, but I was, on the whole, I was just a frightened little thing in this big studio, lovely studio with all these men. And it only slowly starts sort of dawning on you. And I think this WCC journey has been part of that, that how unnatural it was, to have to be scared, to not want to go and have lunch because the canteen is only full of men. So yeah, so that has been unfortunately, but no, I won't say anything personal happened to me. It was just a very and that's not nice. That's bad enough, if you know what I mean.
Of course I do. Of course I do. There's a phrase I don't like, but actors I've spoken to in the last few days have used it: casting couch. It's a euphemism for basically abusing power to demand or nudge or force or pressure women into sexual acts, sexual favors. I had Srilekha Mitra. I'm naming her because she's come on record, talk about her experience with Ranjit. There's another woman who's chronicled in horrific details, who's preferred to remain anonymous, what happened with him. Now, we have to reimagine consent, because a lot of people even today will turn around and say, but it was consensual. This is the casting couch. The women slept with them or let him kiss her.
Totally.
This is what galls me. This is what really galls me. And I want you to talk a little bit about, this, how little we understand what consent is between a very powerful man and a woman looking to get work and build her career.
Barkha, I can talk endlessly about this. And this is why gender sensitization is a very, very important part of what we are demanding. This understanding of, this thing that, oh, you're a moral police, you're a witch hunting group, you're a This all comes from that position of not understanding that when you are in a workplace, there is a power equation, and you must never, never be unaware of that, whether it's the woman or it's the man. So consent is a very slippery slope, but you have to mature into understanding it. A lot of these people who come into the industry are very young, who don't know. How does one help them? Is it enough to just say you don't know, or do you, as associations, as groups of people, as production units, do you provide support for them to understand how to work these out? These are young girls, these are young boys who are working. How do you prevent the power equation from playing out in sexual relations?
Absolutely. And the fact that women have chosen to speak with so much anguish, 15 years later, 16 years later, it tells you how it stays with them. It stays with them. It isn't just something casual. It isn't a fling on equal terms, or whatever other people may like to caricature it as. The Kerala government, on the one hand, yes, they've set up the state task force. But on the other hand, there is an MLA of the CPM. He's now been dropped from a film policy drafting body, Mukesh. There are questions about whether the Kerala government itself, in a way, colluded with the panel to hold back the report. What do you make of how the Kerala government has behaved?
The Kerala government has not behaved very well, frankly. They have not been transparent. They have not trusted Justice Hema herself. They have not trusted us when we have been saying that there is a problem. Uh, I think as a left government, we would have really expected more. And I do not give up hope. And I think that they have to hear these voices. And I really believe that unless these voices are heard, they are spoiling their own constituency, frankly, because this is really a ground reality that has to be faced, that there is a problem in the film industry, which is one of the largest revenue and sort of, it's a productive industry, and it has to be transparent, open, take hard decisions, um, and move ahead, and speak to the problem, really.
Let me ask you, in the end, what if all of this ends up in years of protracted legal battles? Because, for example, we know Mukesh has met with the chief minister. He has denied the allegations against him. There are others who are filing counter cases, right? A lot of the women who've spoken out are now fearful of kind of ending up in court, for a long time. And we've seen this in other cases also. We saw MG Akbar and Priya Ramani. Priya Ramani speaks and MG Akbar takes her to court, right? But in this case, it's a bit different from Me Too, because there's actually a police task force and a lot of women are choosing to go the legal route. But they could be facing the might of a very powerful, very popular, very wealthy men. And the women may not necessarily have the same resources. Are you hopeful, or are you worried that this is kind of going to go into the process being the punishment direction?
With the legal system in India, one always worries about this. That the person who makes the complaint is going to be the one who's going to suffer the most. But the problem is, when you have people who are not listening, unfortunately, this it seems to be the only way. Punitive, right in the beginning, WCC has been saying right from the beginning, let's talk, let's talk, let's talk. There is a problem, there is a problem. But if you don't get down to talking, this is what happens. And unfortunately, the women are bearing the brunt, and they will bear the brunt. And it's really painful, it's really sad. But this is our legal system. Can we say don't go to court? Do we want these people to get away scot-free? The women have to find their closure within themselves. Basically, I think that is it. And I think for a lot of women, this coming out has been also a means of closure. How many will go ahead and actually go into court, etc.? And I think that the state has to be sensitive to this. It has to be sensitive to the fact that this is not an easy journey for any woman.
I want to, sorry, I know your phone is ringing. I just have one last
No,
question,
it's all right.
which is just actually a point of some hope. The Women's Collective, front line of this battle, there are now echoes being felt in other industries. There are women speaking up in Tamil Nadu. There are women speaking up in the Telugu film industry. So this could have a good domino impact, right? And I think that's something, maybe, I don't know if I'm clutching at straws here, but that's something to hold on to, that the work that all of you have done, the hard work that you have all done, could encourage other women elsewhere in other industries to fight, to speak up.
Certainly, we hope so. It is it is a feudal industry across the country. And I think it was time that we called it out. And it is, as usual, always the women who will do it. So, yes, I mean, this was not the plan at all, if you know what I mean. It wasn't sort of, all we were saying is, please set this house in order. But it seems to be having echoes across the country. And if it helps other women, more power to them.
And more power to you and all of you who have fought the good fight. We stand in solidarity. I should say that on record as loudly as I can. Thank you, Beena. Always a pleasure.
Thanks.
Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, Barkha. See you. Take care.
You.
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.